Sparks fly and don't take much. Our memory's still hot to the touch. Nothing burns like an old flame. Dying embers sometimes catch. Seeing her sure strikes a match. But nothing burns like an old flame. I can sit here in the glow of these neon lights. Say it's just the smoke in my eyes. It should be so easy to pretend it's just the whiskey, but everybody knows it's not the same. Nothing burns like an old flame. Thinks he put that fire in her eyes, but soon he's gonna realize nothing burns like an old flame. The flicker of the love we had won't fade with just a dance, 'cause nothing burns like an old flame. And I can sit here in the glow of these neon lights, say it's just the smoke in my eyes. And it should be so easy to pretend it's just the whiskey, but everybody knows it's not the same. 'Cause nothing burns like an old flame. It should be so easy to pretend it's just the whiskey, but everybody knows it's not the same. Nothing burns like an old flame.
Yeah, that was good.
Hopefully that sounded good.
That was really
That
good.
was awesome.
Man.
Yeah, that was I just love the hook and the title, how it all just kind of plays together.
I don't know, Victoria, but it sounds like a hit.
It sounds like a hit. I enjoyed it. It was really good.
I mean,
F, why don't you and Sunny sound good like Matt?
Hello, listeners. This is F. Molina, and I got Victoria with me. How you doing, Victoria?
I may not be in the best of moods because I did spend about 4 hours of my day with F already earlier today.
it's like so you're sick and tired of me, but that's good though. That's good.
You know what? It's the most I've seen your face in a while. It was during mediation, so I guess it's okay. So it was safe. We were, social distancing. Well, yeah,
it's good because I brought a guest with me.
You did.
I did.
Thankfully.
So hopefully he does most of the talking because I know you're tired of my voice.
A little bit.
Brought country music singer Matt Castillo. How are you doing, Matt?
Cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday, by the way.
Yay.
Yay.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate you guys reaching out and wanting to showcase, talent and music talent down here in South Texas, down in Rio Grande Valley. And you guys have been having a lot of, the last one I saw was about forgive me for forgetting her name, but she was the director for Twilight and all that. I think that was amazing. There's a lot of things that kind of go unnoticed down here in South Texas, but for you guys to spotlight that, I learned something new and very proud of being a representative of South Texas and Rio Grande Valley playing country music. So again, thank you for having me on your show today.
So Matt, you are a local country music artist. You are coming out with a new album. What is it called? Your new album?
The title of the album is going to be called How the River Flows, and it's going to be my third album, my first, what did my producer say? A national release. All the last two ones were mostly based in, Texas release, but this one we're going to kind of go for national release, and our first one, but my third album. So How the River Flows is the title of that album. So I'm really excited for that. I know you can't hear it in my voice, but I'm really excited in the sense that it was a long journey to get to this point and to have new music out and just write some amazing songs that I think is probably a really good level up from the last two, but that's just my self-criticism.
That's awesome. Matt, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Austin, Texas.
Okay.
But my dad is from South Texas in Edinburgh, and so I grew up in Edinburgh. So I was here a lot, back and forth. I remember going to kindergarten and first grade down here. Then I moved back up to Austin my second and third grade, and then moved back down fourth all the way through college until that we're going to get to that story later. But a lot of that, my mom was living in Austin at the time. My aunt and my uncle helped raise me. It was one of those times where your mom had to save one child from going down that wrong path and stay on track. And so my aunt and uncle who helped raise me were really, all about school and all about work and, be a hard worker and do all those things and don't mess up. And so they were strict just by raising their voice. So I learned a lot about staying quiet and not getting into trouble. But, I love that I was able to experience both cities and both, a fast-paced life and the slow pace. And, you got to understand, being from Austin, you have all these big old high-rise towers, and then you start driving south and they kind of dissolve, and all you have is just flat land of just farming and all that. So when I moved down here, I was like, did I make the right decision? Was this supposed to be right? But it really was, because I was the first one to graduate high school and college out of my family, and so I'm very proud of that, and my mom is too.
That's awesome.
It's one of those deals. So I love the Valley, and I love Rio Grande.
So what made you get into singing and playing guitar?
The love for it came from my family, my mom, most importantly. The reason why I'm playing country music is because of her, because growing up, we would always listen to country music on the radio. She loved Garth Brooks, George Strait, Dwight Yoakam, and that came into me, and that followed me down. So when I moved down from Austin, my mom was still living in Austin as well. So every time that I missed her, I was listening to country music. Every time that I really missed my mom, I was listening to Garth Brooks, and so I've always wanted to do that. I always loved country music, and I've always thought, man, one day I'm a play country music. One day I'm a be Garth Brooks. That's a big dream and a big accomplishment to even try to achieve. But
Matt, have you had a chance to look at some of my co-host's previous videos? Because he's got a couple where he's singing with a guitar. So
no, I have not.
If you ever need a backup or somebody to help out,
hey,
he likes to sing about qualified immunity and maybe wearing masks and stuff like that. But if you put some sheet music in front of him, he could probably do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping that in mind if I need a backup or a sidekick, song swap kind of thing. So
there you go, F.
Yeah, Matt, you should have probably looked at those videos before you made that offer.
I mean, I got a triangle, I got a cowbell, I got some stuff shit to do something together.
If you have a tambourine, I'm in. I'm just saying.
No hearts right down the road for me. So I can't get that done.
So when you write your own music, right?
I write and I co-write, yes.
And who are some of your influences when you're writing?
In the beginning, we try to kind of emulate other artists till you find, maybe who you are. And there's others that catch on a lot faster. For me, it's always one of the biggest challenges writing songs. So in the beginning, I was maybe going after, a Randy Roger band style or a Garth Brooks or George Strait until you really find your voice, you find what works for you, and you find out just cutting your teeth in honky tonks, what people are looking for. And so you try to aim towards that. And so throughout the years, I started, branching out more and making more connections outside the Valley and get with other songwriters. I think that's the best way to learn who you are and the type of songwriter that you are, is writing with other people. So I got lucky, or I should say I was blessed to find a songwriter and a friend and a mentor, and also my producer, who really kind of took me under his wing and kind of showed me the ropes and gave me these lessons to come back home as far as, what to do. And the best way to learn is to just do it, forget about those songs that don't make sense. You were just trying to get it out of you to really get the good stuff, So in the early ages, I don't want to say early ages because I sound old, but in the beginning, it was really going after, some Randy Rogers and Garth Brooks. And after that, it kind of just turned into what we have on this new album.
Hey, Matt, what inspired you to write Old Flame?
Or there's that guy in the corner of the bar drinking a cold beer, maybe drinking a whiskey, sees his old flame. He's like, nope. Maybe it's that soon of a breakup. When I was thinking about this was,
what's her name, Matt? What's her name? Come on, Matt. Tell us what her name is. Tell us what her name is.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I would go to hillbillies and go hang out and just observe. Drink some beer, drink some whiskey, just observe people, and there's a lot of people that just broke up, a few days before, and they're out with friends and they're dancing, and she's dancing with a guy, and it's like, man, nothing burns like an old flame, you can't get that back, or that guy can't put that fire that was once there. And so when we were playing around with that line, I thought, man, that's great. He thinks he put that fire in her eyes, but soon he's going to realize nothing burns like an old flame. And then, that's when the guy shows up, and it's kind of like, oh, shoot. So it's kind of cool. That's what I love about songwriting. You just never know where it's going to go or what it can turn into. So I'm happy with that.
How old are you, Matt? Because you keep saying early ages or back in the day, and I'm like, you can't be older than us.
So I'm 33, and so I consider myself a late bloomer in a lot of my endeavors. Playing sports, doing things I should have done a long time ago, and music was always the one I wish I would have started earlier. But it also kind of matured me to just not take the fast pass, because I don't think there's any fast pass, but it kind of locks you in, and you're more mature about your decisions. You're more mature about how to approach things. You kind of think before you react. So it all worked hand in hand. So I think it's just probably the best years yet. I'm saying that. So there's a lot of artists out there that are young right now, and they have really good mentors. And for me, I was really hoping to find one as well. And when you find one, you kind of just stick with them and dance with those that brought you there. But yeah, so I'm 33.
And Matt, I have to ask this question because it's the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get a lot of crap because you're doing you're Hispanic and you're doing country music, and that you're not doing the whole Tejano stuff, the Mexican ballads and stuff like that?
Early on, I didn't get too much shit for it, thank God, but I was always prepared for it. One of my biggest goals early on was to be an original band, to go out and actually go write your music, try your best at it. Obviously, you start off as learning covers. That's just the way it works. If you want to go get paid and cut your teeth, I think that's the best way. Learn other songs, go out of those honky tonks, make people dance, make people drink beer, do all the things, cut your teeth, kind of just earn your stripes, And so I'm so happy we did that. Back in the day, we were doing 4-hour shows, and then they kind of just trickled off to just doing 90 minutes. And we had enough original music to go showcase that. So I'm really proud of the progress that we've made over the years to getting to this point where we can just play original music and people can still dance to it, drink to it, relate to it. I still do get some grief a little bit, but it's very little, thank God. And there's a lot of other people out there that they can go, and I always say this, look, if I'm not your cup of tea, I'm sorry. It ain't going to hurt my feelings. If I am, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the fan club. But if not, it just, being in the Valley, you kind of learn to have tough skin. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
I really happy that I got to get that. So
And,
What are you drinking? I was going to ask you earlier.
maybe just whiskey.
Is that for a Whiskey Wednesday?
Hey, you got to keep it on Whiskey Wednesdays. So I recently found Jim Beam Black. Um, one, for the price, how much you get for 1.75 liter, and two, there's a smoothness to it that's very. I can drink it just on the rocks and be perfectly
Ooh.
fine.
Wow.
So
Have
we're
you
gonna
had that
get you
before?
there.
No.
We're gonna get you there. Don't worry, we're gonna get
No.
you there. So everybody asks me what I've been doing during my quarantine. I'm like, eat, sleep, write, play music, drink, go back to bed, do it all over again. Try not to gain the quarantine 15 or quarantine 19, whatever they call it. I don't know.
No, I think it's climbing for most people who've been doing quarantine since March. So
Yeah.
And have you found that with the quarantine that you've been able to like artistically grow? Like you have more time to write songs, more time to create?
I Yes and no. Um, I've been doing this full time for 2 years now, and before that, I was, a substitute teacher and was a referee for the city of Edinburgh and all those places. So I had really good time management, and then once it became full time, I was almost it's a DIY kind of thing. You do it all yourself. You book your shows, you do your social media, you try to find ways to be more creative on all aspects of a business and keep up with all those things. So music is you should never let it slide, but sometimes things do slip through the cracks. But during this quarantine, it has a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot because a lot of it really was a lot of self-reflecting on things that happened last year and how fast this really just hit us. You know what I mean? Thank God for Zoom, FaceTime, because I can schedule rights. And lately, yeah, I've actually, he came around the right time because I've probably written maybe 4 or 5 songs since, maybe in the last 3 weeks. Whether I start them or finish them, there is some sort of creativities, but I found more time to just work on social media, kind of my business plan of how to get out of this, how to stay afloat as a company. Um, a lot of people think that it's just a band. Y'all don't have any bills to pay, but little do people know when people do this as a career, they do have overhead. They do have, equipment they got to pay off. They got, vehicles. They still got light, water and all these things to kind of keep going. And when you don't have any gigs coming in, it kind of really plays with your emotions and what you're going to try to do next. So I think I became a better game planner, I guess, because of the quarantine. So yeah, it's been a little bit different.
what's the writing process for you? Listening to like different artists talk about it. I've heard that some they just kind of come to you, and then others they'll start it, they'll work on it. Maybe months later, they'll finish it. They hear something else. What's yours like?
Um, if you get an idea, sometimes you just get with some songwriters. Like one of them was, I actually have it here. I didn't even plan this, but it's here. Um, I got with a gentleman by the name of David Banning, and we have written songs before. And he's like, "Hey, I got a buddy that we want to bring to the table, and we can do a 3-way write." So sure, bring them on. So pretty much, you just kind of like, "Hey guys, what do you got? You got any ideas?" "Yeah, I got some ideas." "What do you got?" "Well, I got this. I had this song title. She left everything. Oh, but I had this one called "Nothing Burns Like an O Flame." We're like, okay, yeah, that right there, let's run with that. Okay, nothing burns like an O flame. Then you just start messing around with it, and words just start. What's the main idea? What's the main goal? And you just start writing, and you just start putting words together, and somebody's typing, keeping everything online, one's strumming, and so it just nothing burns like an old flame, and that turned into a wonderful song. But it wasn't finished. We finished the whole entire song, but you're never done revising a song until you get it out there. And so we did it one more time. We got a Zoom meeting. We got on and we finished it up, and it actually sounds a lot better than it was before. But that's just part of the process. I don't think anything is ever finished. For instance, like my current single right now, "Say It." There was another verse in there, but it didn't make the cut because what we were trying to do is go for radio, and it just didn't really hold up on its own. So we just kind of exit that, 86 that out, went into the studio, cut that whole song. Man, it sounds amazing. That's what you hear today. But those are just some of the behind the scenes stuff that that nobody really talks about, but it happens a lot of writers and stuff. So sometimes it does come natural. For me, it maybe take a few weeks if I'm really into it and stuff. And there's times where I'll go to Nashville and I'll go write, and these guys are superstars. They're like all-star writers, you know what I mean? And they can see around the corner. And it's not that they take the easy way out, it's just well thought out. It's just a golf swing. You know, the better you are, the cleaner, the farther, faster it's going to go, you know, just things like that. So, yeah, I've learned so much in the last 2.5 years since then, and doing it on my own.
Well, tell us about Whiskey Wednesdays. What's that about?
Okay, so Whiskey Wednesday, for one, I like whiskey, and usually what I drink, and so when people ask me what I want to drink, I'll say I'll have a whiskey. But I thought it would have been pretty cool. I thought it was cool because our drummer used to be a bartender, and he's a good one at it too. Shout out to Aaron Mancha. But I was like, hey, it would be a cool idea. You come over to the house, we'll go live, we'll make my favorite drink, which is an old fashioned. We'll tell the people to get their stuff ready. If they want to make a drink with us, they're more than welcome to. And then after that, we'll play some songs, and then they'll ask some questions, and we'll answer them and tell them where to find us. We'll play some new songs that I've written. We'll play some new stuff that's on the new album. We'll, you know, just kind of give these teasers. And so it kind of just evolved into that, and people were actually looking forward to it. And so that turned into something a little bit bigger. And then I realized I wanted to showcase some talent in South Texas and in the Rio Grande Valley. So we called on some local artists to come on, and Hillbillies actually loved the idea too, and opened up their club to let us go in and showcase that talent too. So I love working with locals and small businesses and just buddies of ours that have been so supportive since we started. And so I've always told them, man, let me be your guinea pig. Let me go out there and fail or succeed, and I'll let you know what not to do and what to do. But Whiskey Wednesday was mostly for the fans since I couldn't see them, and I miss them. And I love drinking with them as far as before the show or after the show. You know, that's the favorite part. So Whiskey Wednesday was almost something close to it. And so fans would, you know, send me whiskey bottles. One send me like a container to hold my whiskey in. I forgot what it's called. There's a name for that. But yeah, without them, I sure do miss them. And I'm hoping to be back on the road, which we will be next week. We'll be just acoustically, but we're going to be in San Antonio area playing out there. So
now,
we'll make a road trip.
Now, I once watched a documentary on Taylor Swift, and she says she carries like a notepad like with her, and whenever she hears like something, she writes it down like in her notepad. And when you were talking, Matt, I'm not a songwriter, right? I'm not. But when you said "let me be your guinea pig," I was like, that has some potential there.
Oh, it does.
That has some potential there.
What are your favorite places around here to play? I know you mentioned you had the thing going with Hillbillies before.
Yeah, you know,
COVID.
Hillbillies gave us, you know, when Monster Car Wash was around, we would play there all the time. We would, you know, get our feet wet down here before we go and take what we have as a show outside of the valley. Next was Hillbillies. You know, we did a Thursday night. We packed it out, and Thursday night was ladies' nights, and it was something they've never seen before. So we ended up having our own show after that, as far as our own headlining show. And I think we were like maybe 30 people from selling it out for being in the valley. I thought that was a really proud moment for having a Thursday night, packing it out to, you know, going over to the next 4 months later, being able to come back, have our own show, and it'd be like 30 shy of selling it out. I was like, wow, that's a lot of people. But the Valley's been very supportive on that, and the venues have too. And you know, one of our other favorite places to play is the Far Event Center, because we get the big names. You know, we get to open up for those guys. So we've opened up for Kevin Fowler, Randy Rogers. We've also opened up for Granger Smith, Cody Johnson, Casey Donahue, just a bunch of guys throughout the Valley, and we've been able to strike up a really great relationship with them when we go out of town.
When you're
open up to them.
What's the rule?
Cool.
Like when you're opening up for somebody, do you hold back, or do you say like, do you do like a really good job? Like when you're opening, like what's that rule that the opening band should have?
There are some artists that don't want you to outshine them. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's kind of like when nobody knows who we are, and
we got to put up our best shit, man.
Yeah, like, okay, we won't go 100%, but we'll go 98.5.
Okay.
But we called our opening set a power hour because we only got 60 minutes, So we try to do the best songs we can because at the end of the day, it's our job to pump them up for the headliner, who they're there to see. If we
Yeah.
can kind of keep them drinking a little bit because we have some drinking songs that they can, really dance to and get into, then I think we did our job. I think it's a good compliment and a go hand in hand. Like we compliment their music, we compliment their show. It's just a nonstop kind of thing. So that's a pretty cool thing about it. But right when we're done, like get your stuff and get off. Stay out of their way. It's their show, it's their stage, and you just keep going. You know what I mean? So it's fun opening up for big artists. And if they like you, you get to stay with them. You get to ride the road with them. And Randy Rogers has been one of those guys where when we open up from down here and we go and play up for them, maybe in Odessa or San Antonio or wherever, we're at home. Or if we're in the same town as them and we play the show earlier and we didn't get to open up for them, we still go to their show and we get to hang out. They're just very awesome people just to be around and really great business sense. So it's pretty cool.
Right now, Matt, you just produced your new album. Or did you produce it, or did someone else?
No. So my producer is Roger Brown, who's also again one of my mentors and one of the co-writers on the songs. And we went up to Nashville to go record it, and it was a great experience up there too. But this was about 2.5 years in the making of songs. We had about 43 songs stacked, queued up, but we went in at 17. But we only came out with 12. So it was a great learning experience being in a studio in Nashville. All the other ones we've cut them down here. The first one we cut down in Edinburgh at Sounds of Rain. The second album, Still Saying, we recorded up in Wimberley, Texas. And then this third album, I went up to Nashville to go cut this album.
How do you like being in Nashville? Is there something, because you hear about songwriters or artists talk about being in Nashville and that it just kind of gives them, I guess, like a different type of energy or feeling. Did you feel that when you were there?
I've heard people say this: if you want to write really great songs, go to Nashville. Go where the music's at. But I kind of believe that, but then I don't. But I also feel this: no matter where you go on Broadway, and there's live music, it's amazing. These guys do this for a living. If you wanted to talk about doing music for a living, Nashville is a place, because every day they wake up, they create. These guys, these session players that we have, they wake up, they get hired to do work on a lot of people's albums. Some of the guys that are on this album were also on Willie Nelson's album, Aaron Lewis, Dierks Bentley, Brad Paisley. These guys, that's just what they do. And you go up there to go get guys that can do that. And I wanted something a little bit different. And up there, they are efficient, fast. I respect them a lot. So, and it's the same thing with songwriters. These guys have hits off of hits. One writer that I got to write with, her name is Karen Staley. She's written for Neil McCoy, Faith Hill. When it comes down to barbecue, it's definitely a Texas barbecue, and then another South Texas barbecue. So
nice.
And Matt, if people wanted to follow your music career, do you have a Facebook page, Twitter? How can people contact you?
Yeah, so on Facebook it's Matt Castillo Music. On Facebook, same thing for Instagram, Matt Castillo Music. Then Twitter is at the Matt Castillo, because I guess somebody already had my handle. I guess I don't know. Website mattcastillomusic.com, and then they can find me on Spotify under Matt Castillo, Apple Music, Google Play, and they can find my current and brand new single "Say It" on there as well.
Nice.
And, well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. We're definitely going to follow your career, and we hope as soon as the Old Flame hits number 1, you'll come back on the show.
We can have a live show, like on at the actual, our actual studio. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool to have something with you guys out there. Like I said, there's just so many songs that I'm just like, oh, these are so good, But I can't have nothing but, if it were up to me, I'd have an album full of slow songs and heartbreak and drinking slow drinking songs. You know, I just gravitate towards those a lot more.
We don't need to be sadder during quarantine, Matt.
They're like, how many? You know, honestly, out of all the songs that I've written, majority of them have been sad and slow, and nothing fast. I don't know. I just one of those. But hopefully, if nothing burns, I can hopefully make it on the next album. That'd be amazing. This one that we got in the can right now that we're holding off of, getting it released is going to be a good one too. I think it's going to set the tone for the next albums to come, or maybe EPs. But I really appreciate you guys giving me this platform and this opportunity to come on and share a song, or you know what I mean, and share what I'm doing down here. I'm just trying to make the Valley proud, working hard and representing as best as I can, being a good boy.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking time out of your Whiskey Wednesday to spend the hour with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, anything you guys need, let me know.
Yes,
if you guys have a backyard party, I'd love to come out and maybe do something with you guys soon. We're working on that. So,
and maybe give Efrain and Sunny some guitar lessons.
We need them.